Hey, I'm going to talk a little bit today about what was undoubtedly, the highlight of my playing career for Vincents, and that was winning the 1993 Senior Hurling Championship. And in my mind, that goes back to really 1981 when I was 14 years of age. It was the golden jubilee of the club, and the history of the club was written by Paddy Donnelly. And I remember getting this book and reading through it, and seeing the pictures and the stories of all these great men who'd won lots of championships and had done great things for the club over the years. And it struck me that I'd love to be part of that eventually, to play senior with the club, to win senior championships and be part of the history of that organisation. So I played on anyway and played up through minor, and 86 came out of minor and was lucky enough to be chosen on the senior hurling panel. We went on to win the championship in 88, and while being delighted to do that, from a personal point of view, I didn't play any meaningful part in that. So, it wasn't personally that meaningful for me. 93 was different, and the county board experimented that year with a different format for the championship. So they had a group phase, and then the winners, if you went through your group phase, you went into the knockout. So we actually sailed through the group phase very easily and got to the quarter-final stage. But coming up to the quarter-final, at the time I would have been a bit more wound up than I am now about things, and I remember being really pissed off about the fact I felt like I wasn't getting my game and felt I deserved. I felt I was playing well enough. But leading up to the quarter-final, there was a Senior B match up on the club. I remember it being against Ballyboden. Beautiful summer night. It would have been early part of July, and I played in that game. I actually played really well. I got a few scores, and that was probably about a week before the Fogs game. So Fogs game came along. It wasn't in the starting 15, but it came on and got a couple of points in that game. So again, felt I was going well. We won easily enough, and we had the quarter-final or the semi-final then against Kieran's probably about a week later. So I think the fact that the schedule was so compressed suited us as well. We were able to get a lot of momentum. We beat Fogs, who'd been a big rival of ours, and then played against the Crave. And I made it to the starting 15 for the match against the Crave. So I was delighted with that and really excited about it. Again, a real local rival of ours and a team I always really enjoyed playing. They always felt they were very hard men, but we never really worried too much about them. At that time, we would always fancy their chances against them. I do have memories of the game itself. I was in right corner forward, Kieran Barr was full forward, and Garrow was in the left corner, Garrett McKay. And I remember in the first half, Garrow scoring a great goal and really getting us off to a nice start. I was finding it difficult to get into the game, but close to half time, there was a scramble in the goal, and I managed to get my stick to a ball just around the square and stick the ball in the net, so we got a goal. So that really helped me get into the game. Second half, they came at us pretty strong, and it was looking dodgy enough. And I remember Kieran winning the ball in around full forward, as he always did, and he was almost on the end line and played it back to me, and I managed to stick one in the top corner, which was a great feeling. And we ended up winning the match by a point. And having scored 2 goals in that match, I felt like I'd really contributed and felt really good about it. And the final was fixed for the following week. The final was against Crumlin. Now, Crumlin was a team that we played in the round robin section of the championship and had absolutely hammered. So there was a lot of confidence, going into the final that we were going, that we were really in a good position to win this. I had a lot of confidence myself in feeling that I'd done enough in the semi-final to solidify a place on the team, and went to train. I remember going to train on Tuesday night, starting 15, or what we thought was the starting 15, were called aside, and we set up for the photograph of the programme for the next week. I was in the photograph, so again, really getting good feeling for the build up to the game. And after training, then we typically had a meeting up in the committee room in the clubhouse, and I can remember sitting in the bar having a drink after training with Mickey and Damien Loftus, and we were chatting about the game and what we thought was going to happen. And I got a tap on the shoulder from Paddy McCabe, who was the manager of the team, and I could tell by his expression that the news wasn't going to be good. And he called me outside and told me I wasn't starting. So I was completely devastated. It was just horrible, and I felt like I didn't even want to go into the meeting room for the meeting. But I went in and I sat there, just stunned in silence. And a lot of people were, when the team was announced, I was getting a lot of sympathy and all this, but sure, it was meaningless to me. The game was fixed for the Saturday, so I had a few days to sort of try and get over this, but I was very upset. I can remember crying about it when I was alone and just bitter about the whole experience, and fleeting thoughts of saying, fuck this, I'm done, I'm not going to show up or anything like that. But then I got a different feeling then a day or two later, and I thought to myself, this could still be my day, this could still be the day that I've been waiting for. And I was determined then that I'm going to go with it, and if I get a chance, that I'll take that chance, I'll grasp it with both hands. So the day of the game anyway, I can remember getting ready down Addison Road, getting the gear ready, and I had a bottle of champagne in my room. I can't, no idea where it came from, but I ended up putting it in the bag, and I thought to myself, I might need this later on, and headed up to Parnell Park. Game started. So the game itself was on the Saturday night, I can remember it, July 24th, up in Parnell Park, as always, great crowd there, great build-up. And again, me feeling pissed off I'm not playing, but determined to be ready, that if I was called in, that I was going to do what I needed to do. So the game started off, and it wasn't going the way that we had hoped it would go, and we were struggling, and Crumlin were all over us, and we're actually, I think it was about 7 points up at half time. And the longer the game went on, and the longer that we were behind by that much, the more anxious I was to get in there. I felt like I could do something. So I eventually got the call with about 20 minutes to go, and I went in full forward, and all I was thinking was, just give me a chance. I just want a chance. Because there's times when you're playing, particularly in the full forward line, the game can pass you by, the ball doesn't come in, it's outside of your control. But I was determined that if the ball came my way, it was going to be mine. And probably with about 10-15 minutes left, Toby had the ball out on the left wing. And as soon as it left its stick, I knew where it was coming, I knew where it was going to land. And Derek Denif was the full back for Crumlin, a big bloke, but I managed to get out in front of him, and I was able to hold him off and catch the ball. Now when I landed with the ball, he pushed me away from the goal, which actually made my job a little bit easier because it gave me room. I wasn't bottled up then. And what stands out for me from that is that in a lot of games, everything just happens automatically. You don't even think about it. But for whatever reason, maybe it was because of the size of the occasion for me, I can remember every little detail. I can remember landing there, and it was just on the edge of the square, and thinking clearly to myself, I'm so close to the goal here. All I got to do is connect, and that ball's going into the net. And sure enough, I had the space, short grip, bang, ball hits the back of the net. Great feeling, scored the goal, but we were still behind. So we still had a tremendous amount of work to do. But that goal, put us back in the game, put us back in the hunt. Shawnee McDermott scored a goal a little after that, again, which put us ahead, and we were in business. But it was still very, very tight. And the end of the game for me, it was getting to the stage where it was, all up in the air. And I was being sucked further out the pitch, and I can remember getting the ball around midfield, and all that was in my mind was getting this as far away from our goal as we possibly could. The point in at the time for us, and just getting the best swing that I could on it. I was blocked, but got down, picked up the ball again, and again just wanted to launch the ball as hard and as high as I could, and I did that. And lo and behold, it sailed over the bar to give us a 2-point lead with, practically a minute left in the game. That was the point that I knew that we won. And that was the point where, the emotion took over, and it was just a tremendous, tremendous feeling of, vindication, really, to come on and to score a goal and a point in that short period of time, and for us to win. The scenes after the match, I'll never forget. The teammates coming over, family, Emma, my girlfriend at the time, my wife now of almost 20 years, coming out on the pitch and hugging me, and just tremendous, tremendous feeling. Going back to the club, meeting people there like Brendan McGrath, who'd always believed in me, and just tremendous celebrations. It went on for for a long time, and one of the highlights of the celebrations for me was the presentation of the medals. And I think it happened in November, so quite a bit later. But it was the 40th anniversary of the club's first ever senior hurling championship, and Norman Allen was captain of that team, and his son Damien was captain of the team in '93 when we won. But that presentation, there was presentations made to that team as well, and the likes of Poggy Lillis, Budger Keeley, Kevin Heffernan, Liam Donnelly, all these guys that I'd read about in this book. I was now with them, and we were celebrating our achievements, not just theirs but ours as well, and that was a tremendous feeling, and I felt like I belonged and I was part of the history of this great club. Alright, that's it. I almost forgot about the champagne. So, like I mentioned earlier, I was more of an angry young man than I am now, but in the dressing room after we won, and there was all sorts of hooping and hollering as there normally is, and then I remember Lar Foley came into the dressing room, so I produced the champagne out of the bag and let it rip and sprayed it everywhere, and great time. But what I vividly remembered is Paddy McCabe saying to me afterwards in the club and saying, "Jesus, you were very brave bringing that champagne. What were you going to do if it didn't work out, if you weren't brought on, if we'd lost?" So I said to him, "Paddy, I would have smashed it over your fucking head." So I didn't mean it, of course, at the time, but I think he probably thought I did.